let me go to Chris Bedford. He is inside the Capitol. Chris, you've been standing on those marble floors for 4 hours, it seems. What is the mood there, and what have you heard?
So just outside the chamber, you could take the subway to the Capitol chamber from here, or it's just around the corner. But even in these marble halls, the place was shaking. I mean, you could feel it, and it was just ahead of where the TV, where we were watching, was actually coming through. So you'd hear these thunderous boos at first, and that whole commotion, or you'd hear the thunderous applause moments before things actually happened, and you could feel it, which is also, I mean, it's really cool. It's like the difference between watching fireworks on TV and actually feeling them in your chest. But I got to tell you, throughout this speech, I had to rewrite my whole Beltway Brief newsletter for the morning to the evolution of a person we saw at the podium tonight, Donald Trump, who was a well-known, verifiable American celebrity when he first really seriously ran for office in 2016. And I remember the whispers on the campaign trail from the reporters that this was someone who hadn't proven himself as a politician. He was a germaphobe. Could he kiss babies? Could he do the things that you had to do? Could he make people feel comfortable and natural? And the first glimpses I got that this guy was a legitimate politician was the confidence with which he walked into Iowa, rooms filled with bikers in their Vietnam War vests and there with their families. He would walk in and fit right in with them, and that was an early glimpse. But then in Manchester, New Hampshire, the way I saw him interacting with children, interacting with tables when I first met him, the way I saw him talking to makeup women who were people who were behind the scenes when the cameras weren't on, I recognized that this guy was a politician. And over those first 4 years in office, he painted a grim picture in his first speech, a big speech, his first speech as president, American carnage. And he sometimes went back and forth. He would, like you were just talking about, he could get sucked into the fights. You could find one of those tattooed bikers in a bar who had a Donald Trump loves me and my mother never did tattooed on him. And he would say, hey, could you tone down the tweets a little bit? Because Americans, they still wanted someone to act a little presidential, even though they loved what he was doing. This new iteration of Donald Trump is America's orator-in-chief. He can go seamlessly from uplifting the American spirit and including those among us who are small and may not be known, or little boys who want to be police officers. He can go into making fun of his opposition right there, teasing them right to their faces without looking childish the way that the Democrats did. And then he could pull it back all together. And you saw glimpses of this in Normandy in 2019. And you saw it also in the White House in the Capitol at his second inauguration. But tonight really clinches the deal of someone who came before us an entertainer, became a great politician, and is now one of the great orators and statesmen, I think, on the world stage.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all your hard work in Washington, and you even going. I mean, I hope you get battle pay for being in Washington, D.C. Let me toss it into stage two. I believe we have Matthew Peterson, our Blaze editor-in-chief, and also Jill Savage. What did you guys take from this?
Well, I think what what Chris is saying is really important. I mean, the trajectory from American carnage to painting a picture of the golden age is Donald Trump's trajectory. This is part of the greatest comeback in American history, and I would say that, Glenn, what we saw tonight was a litany of things that, if you hadn't been paying attention, that many people haven't even heard of. Right? For those who are paying attention, for those who watch The Mandate, I mean, this is what we look at every day at the Blaze. But for a lot of people, you can't collect all these in a basket because most mainstream media won't give it to you that way. So Trump is a master of rhetoric in the digital age. They used to say that Obama was the first Twitter president because he had an aide that would put out canned remarks when Twitter came out. But everyone in the world knows who the actual first Twitter president was. And now in the age of X, Trump reigns supreme. So what you had here was sort of him summarizing and bringing together all of the things that he had done, all of the themes, all of the rhetorical themes that are very important and purposeful and pointing towards the future into one big, beautiful speech.
Jill, maybe it's just me because, we all live this. We eat this and drink this and breathe this all day, every day. And so to me, it was kind of like, okay, I know what you did. I don't know if the American people felt that way, because I hear all the time, I can't keep up. I don't even know what he did.
Well, that's what we were promised, right? I'm almost surprised that Trump didn't actually have executive orders to go out there and sign. He's been signing so many so often. He could have used this opportunity to go sign a few more executive orders. But I'm with you, Glenn. I think that if you're paying attention every single day, you've heard a lot of this stuff. I don't think that he really pushed the narrative forward that much. But if you're just sitting back and an average American and you have a busy life, it is good to sit down and be reminded that this is the way that he wants the country to go. This is the vision that he has. And it was wrapped up, like he said, in one big, beautiful speech there. But I look at this and I just look at the fact that he said, I was saved by God to make America great again, that he comes back to that because I think that he truly believes that. And I think this is the difference between Trump 1.0 and Trump 2.0 is he now knows that there is an end to his life at some point in time. He now believes that he is still on this earth to make a difference while he still can. And I think that is such a powerful thing. And now you see him out there and he's sharing the spotlight, right? He's forgiving people. Elon Musk is out there. JD Vance has the interaction that he has with Zelenskyy. Trump 1.0. I don't think would have allowed somebody else to grab the spotlight.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you notice he had a very, the one thing that made Ronald Reagan so effective was in some ways he was very charming and he would make fun of his opponents, but it was never, I mean, you know, Pocahontas was probably not real presidential, but I enjoyed it. I don't think Pocahontas enjoyed it. But, you know, he several times made a comment that wasn't mean, wasn't hurtful, but just kind of dismissed them. It was quite amazing. Did you follow, are there any more comments?
There absolutely are. We had a lot of fun with the subscribers in the chat tonight. And so we asked them what their biggest takeaways were from the speech. And Valerie Mendilovich came back and said, how can the president promise lower prices without causing extreme hardship, trying to suck in all the money the Biden administration printed? And Glenn, this is something that we were actually talking about in the hallways there before we all sat down today is how is he actually going to be able to pull this off? Yeah,
it's going to be it's going to be very difficult. Nobody's ever done it before, ever. No country has ever reversed this process. This has always been the point of death spiral. But I believe if anyone could pull it off, he and his team could. But it's going to be, he said it a couple of times tonight. We have some pain ahead of us. It's going to be hard. Just stay with me. It's going to be hard.
The next question comes from Ramona Bidlack. It says, why can't the Democrats clap for anything? They must be anti-American, and this breaks my heart. When you can't clap for a kid that has cancer, you guys, I think that we've lost some of the just decent morality in this country.
I agree. I don't know how they didn't stand, even you had the Supreme Court. They can't applaud. The Joint Chiefs, they can't applaud. But at certain appropriate times, they stood. They didn't applaud. It wasn't an endorsement. They stood out of respect. You don't have to respect the president. You do have to respect the office and, quite honestly, that chamber, I think, and it was greatly disaffected.
Don't you think that there was something different tonight about their performative, ridiculous stuff? I mean, I really felt this. I mean, you remember
show.
Pelosi tearing up the document and all that. Yeah. It still had some energy to it, right? It was sort of wow. You felt wow. There's a power here. This time. With the stupid signs and everything else, it felt like the energy was completely drained. It fell flat.
They have become a parody of themselves. They overplayed their hand, they overstayed their welcome, and it's a clown show now.